If I went missing, how would you describe me to the cops?
I knew you were going to say that. Should I describe you physically or should I describe your
Whatever
mannerisms?
you would say to the
A
cops.
very tall, self-assured,
Self-assured.
muscular,
I'm not
gorgeous
gonna get
angel.
found.
Great skin, amazing undertone in any light, so you can find her anywhere. Like smiles like a Happy Dent ad, like all teeth beautiful. And she has the lightest shade of brown texture in her eyes, so make sure you catch her in the sun.
They find me in a room crouched over there, like, not her.
Bro, they will never find you in a room crowd. Firstly, Sakshi, I know if Sakshi, I hope it never happens, but if she was ever taken like hostage or kidnapped
No.
or something, she would break through the bed. Like there would be like marks of
I would try my
rebellion,
best. But so
adapted
would
rebellion.
you.
Yeah. No, I would be like, lay low.
No, no, no.
Lay low, bhai. It's like,
If I had to describe you to the cops, I'd be like, she's already working on her escape, but she will be working on it parallelly. So if you find her, she'll be like, no, I got this. I'm going to figure this out myself.
that's you're really kind.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back to Moment of Silence Pod. I'm Sakshi Shavdasani.
I'm Naina Bhan, and today we're doing a really cool episode. I think in Vain, every month we do something slightly off kilter, and
Yeah.
we're doing some unsolved mysteries today. Before we get into it, popcorn, flopcorn, how was your holiday, many other things.
Yeah, so I got back from a holiday last week and Naina is flying out next week. So this is the 1 week where we have clubbed our resources to shoot Moss. But my holiday was good. I went to Australia and my new thing is that I do want to start a bar crawl in Bombay. It's not a new thing. I've been soft launching it for a while, but I love doing bar crawls wherever I go, and I learned a lot about the history of Australia, which I was quite fascinated by, but not the, like, I learned the tragic history also, but I also learned how people were smuggling alcohol, and then one guy fell into the Sydney harbour, and then his friend wrote a poem about him.
So that was the untragic history.
Yeah. Like, you're just an alcoholic who falls into places. How is that tragic?
Sindhi coded, if I ever heard.
Yeah, replace the harbour with a pool. That's my cousin's haldi. Dude,
Oh yeah, how was the wedding?
the wedding was so basically my cousin lives in Australia. It was a civil ceremony. It was very sweet, but I just know that all the women in our family, as soon as any one of us finds a man, they are like scared for the man. Like, we're just all man
Twin.
eaters in some capacities. All the speeches were like, to my cousin were like, you're going to be sorted, you're amazing, you're this thing. And to her husband was like, best of luck.
I feel like all of our lives play out a little bit like Get Out, right?
Yeah.
we are all sitting together and we're looking at the guy who's coming into the family, and you can tell from the first meet he is so inept.
He's not cut out for this. It's going to take some lobotomizing here and there, some twisting. Like, Get Out it's not even a horror movie for me.
So Get Out is not a horror movie because that is the reality, and just the option
Have
for
you
women.
watched Get
Yeah,
Out?
I'm saying it's not a horror movie because in most situations women would just submit. It's
That's
a horror movie
true.
because he refused to submit.
Yeah.
And
And a man refusing to submit is kind of scary.
fine.
If you take the surgery aspect out of it, then it's really just a lot of women's lives. You're right about that.
Then what's her name, that matchmaker, she would also say that thoda to sacrifice karna padta hai, thoda to adjust.
Seema Taparia.
Yeah, she would have said the
Shout
same.
out. Yeah.
But anyway, my popcorn is that I'm going on holiday.
Yeah.
My flopcorn is that I woke up in the morning and my SIM card stopped working.
Dude.
I'm trying to live a glamorous life, and the way
Can't
they're
be
trying to kill it
plagued
for
by
me.
these problems.
SIM card not working. Billionaires don't have these problems. I can tell. I'm hotspotting my other phone to my other phone. That's not chic. I need to be
No.
chic.
And then I was like texting on the group, guys, you can contact me on this phone. And the phone that she uses because her WhatsApp name on that is so irritating. No one wants to message her from that number. So we were all like, you know your WhatsApp, NB. Like,
NB is great.
no, Naina Ban is better. But, oh, well, I don't have the number of yours saved, is what I'm realizing.
Real
Sorry.
rich.
No, but the mystery genre for me is.
Let me tell you, okay? There's some weird unsolved mysteries. The first one I thought of this morning was that how is it that when you're in a salon and they wash your hair, it lathers up? But you go home and you try to wash your hair, and no matter how much shampoo you use, it does not lather.
Dude, also, how is it that they take a coin-sized amount and it lathers your whole hair? But when I take a coin-sized amount, when I do this, it just lotions my hands.
That's what I'm
instead.
saying.
It's gross. But
But that wasn't my unsolved mystery. There was one, okay? This is. So, I don't know if you know that a lot of kids, when they're born, they have memories of their previous
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
And I find that concept to be so eerie.
yeah.
Now, my mom, when she was a kid, she would have vivid memories of these military camps.
Okay.
And then she held that information, she did nothing with it. And then one day we were discussing, and she's like, I kept seeing these camps, and I feel like I was there once in my life. And my mom's born on 1st December 1962. And in November 1962, India was at war with China.
yeah.
And my mom saw Chinese camps
Oh my god.
in her dreams.
She was a prisoner of war in her previous life.
Possibly, or a Chinese soldier who died on Indian soil.
Oh, I forgot that you can be reborn in a different nationality.
You're so disgusting.
Obviously, Indian will be born in Indian. No,
Yeah.
that was my saving grace. Now I don't want to be reborn. You can be reborn anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that I always wondered things like that. Like, how do you add up? Like, there are all these weird things on the internet where you see people's faces and then you see them in 100 years ago, they were in a portrait of, the partition, or like a while ago, they were in some.
Do you see faces? Do you have deja vu?
I don't see faces, but I have a lot of deja vu with I've done this before.
Yeah, same. But it's the most boring stuff. So for me, it's when I'm driving, suddenly I'll be like, oh, this exact thing happened sometime to me. But it's just driving on the road. So it's not exciting for me. Or like, I have this very often where I'll see a dream and it's always that I've posted something and then the idea kind of comes to me, I record it, I post it, and then someone calls me and says, you're fucked. This took you down. Like, this reel of yours took you down. And then I'll forget about it. Then I shoot something unrelated and I'm like, typing the caption, and as soon as I press upload, it comes to me that someone's going to call me at this exact moment, and I've done this entire thing in my dream the previous night.
1 second, I'm so lost. So this happens to you once in your dream and then it happens in real life.
But no one calls me, and like I make the same exact reel and I post it with the same caption that I thought of in my dream. But I don't remember that it's in my dream. But as I post it, I'm like, okay, now the call is supposed to come. But the call doesn't come.
How do you remember things from your dreams? I get so many good script ideas. And
I wake up and I
forget.
type them down in the middle of the night. Don't you all do
Crazy.
that?
No, I get too lazy.
Oh no, I wake up because if I'm like, it's a really good idea, I'm not going to remember it in the morning. So I just like type it in my notes app.
What's an idea that you dreamt of that performed really well?
The rage baiting thing, actually, I was like, why don't I just do this IRL? So it came to me
How
in a dream.
interesting.
Yeah.
Another mystery, unsolved mystery that is part of my childhood is the Monkey Man from Delhi. I don't know if you know about the Monkey Man.
Tell me more.
So, 2001 May, similar to what's happening right now, there was a heat wave in Delhi. And so because of the heat wave, in certain parts of Delhi, people were sleeping on their terraces and balconies. And a couple of different people reported seeing a creature, 4 feet tall, furry, red eyes, who was attacking people.
Okay.
And he got termed the Monkey Man. And through the summer of 2001 in Delhi, there was mass hysteria and people were panicked because they were like, we're sleeping outside, the monkey man is going to come for us. And then because different people were freaked out and there was so many anecdotal accounts of people having seen him or not having seen him or having been attacked by him, that there was lots of like false information and rumors going around.
Yeah.
Never figured out what happened in that summer. Some scientists sat and researched, and then they basically said that because it was so hot and because people were sleeping collectively outside, there was this mass panic that was just textbook panic. And because of that, people were seeing things, and one
so
account led to hysteria amongst a group of people who were just feeling fear and heat struck.
like, do you think they made up the whole thing, or you think
I don't
one
know.
person got attacked by a child and then
Just a hairy child.
Sindhi child slapping
It's
someone?
totally possible, but I don't know if you remember watching Delhi 6, but the Monkey Man is a big part of Delhi 6's climax. I think
haven't
Abhishek Bachchan
watched.
is the Monkey Man.
I love it. He was the first man to boldly show off his chest hair in Dostana.
And they called him Monkey
They
Man.
called him Monkey Man for it. How sick. No, actually, I'm trying to think, like, outside my school, there was this rumor that there's this one man who walks around naked. And a lot of people have seen this naked man, and it's gross, obviously. I don't know, I think outside my building, actually, not my school. He was just this man who used to ironically carry a cloth bag filled with what it seemed like were clothes. But he would be completely naked. And I have seen him. And I was just so confused because on the main road, just a man like walking around naked, scavenging for stuff. But up until I hadn't seen him, I didn't believe anyone. So I think Monkey Man is still out there. Yeah, I hope he's
Working
not
at
attacking
Deloitte. You're waiting for his appraisal.
Once he got his job, he didn't have time to go around slapping people.
Like, what happened to hobbies? The work-life balance is just not happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I
really...
love Monkey Man stories.
The first time in my life when I felt like I had something to contribute and that I had a brain was in college. Till then, in school, everyone dismissed me as a ditz, okay?
Really?
Yeah.
And
And then I reached college, and all of my professors, they loved me. The one professor that really loved me and I loved her back was my ancient Indian history professor. And it was just like, of course, Naina's going to top this paper. Like, she knows it. I was like so cocky. I was giving people tuition. I was like, oh, you want to revise notes? Let me do it for
let
you.
me just read out the whole chapter
Yeah.
from memory.
But now how you give exams is that in the history paper, there are 4 questions for 100 marks, 25, 25, 25.
Yeah.
And then you can choose which things you want to study, and normally you get an option between the two. The year I sat down to give my ancient Indian history paper was the year, my favorite subject, Indus Valley Civilization. The one question that I thought would not come was the question that came. And that was, how did the Indus Valley civilization come to an end? Which is an unsolved mystery to this day.
Is it an unsolved
Yeah,
mystery?
Hrithik Roshan tried in Mohenjo-daro
Yeah.
to put an end to the mystery, but yeah, it is an unsolved
I
mystery.
thought it was just a flood that took it out.
Is one theory,
Okay.
which was popularized in the
Yeah.
film Mohenjo-daro.
Mohenjo-daro, who no one except you has seen.
Because I was so excited. I was like, oh my god,
They've
finally.
discovered it. Like Bollywood doing so much for ancient Indian history.
Dude, I sat in that paper. My professor looked at me and I looked back at her and I was like, nahi
Ho
hone
gaya
wala,
mera.
nahi hone wala. And two questions out of the 4 questions that I had prepared, both questions I didn't know, because both
Oh,
I was like, oh,
no.
this to ye to aane hi nahi wala. I don't need to waste my time.
Oh no. And now we'll never know how Indus Valley civilization ended. Fuck.
And
Yeah.
this first one is called India's Lake of Skeletons. So there's this lake up in the Himalayas called Roopkund Lake, and it's about 16,000 feet up. And in 1942, there was a British forest ranger who discovered that there were about 600 to 800 skeletons that were preserved under the ice at that lake. And for 50 years, scientists have tried to figure out who these people were, when and how did they die, and where did they come from, but they haven't figured anything out. The skeletal remains show that they were all middle-aged people 35 to 40 child free.
How do you know they were child free?
There were no children there.
Yeah, maybe the children buried them.
You like they all died and then the children buried them and ran away from this
I
high
think the
altitude.
children killed them. It's possible. Like 35 to 40 in that era,
Yeah.
you probably have a 20-year-old kid.
No, at 20 they probably had grandkids.
Yeah.
So the kids were, the life expectancy would have been like 40, 45 years of age. 20 were like aged.
Oh, so you're saying that these people were old. So they
Yeah.
died of old age.
They were old. No, I
Oh.
don't think they died of old age. My theory is that maybe it was like some kind of mass, like cult self-unaliving.
Interesting. Okay.
Like Jonestown Massacre, if you know Jonestown Massacre.
Is it the one where like the entire town was...
They all drank like a poisoned, cyanide
yeah.
poisoned Kool-Aid and everyone
Oh.
unalived themselves.
Do you know the one where there was a mass hysteria where everyone that went to this town started dancing? It started with some sort of town fair or something, and then these people just couldn't stop dancing. In fact, people were dying of exhaustion dancing, but it turned out to be like a mass hysteria thing where they just... Do you know this?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, it's called the dancing plague.
the dancing plague.
So, but why did they dance?
No one knows. It's just
And
one
then
of
they
those
died
things.
dancing.
They've died of exhaustion dancing, and there's some people that went to check on them, and they started dancing. Like,
Takdeer ki top. No. Wrong time.
dying from dancing is crazy.
Yeah, it is quite crazy.
I literally broke a leg. That's I don't want to die like that.
Like Frozen or dancing?
Either.
I would like to die dancing. Like you enjoyed life to the max.
Yeah, but imagine like Chunri is playing and you're just so exhausted, but your body won't stop you from
I would
dancing.
die if Chunri Chunri kept playing. I would not stop dancing. That is the song that the Pied Piper should play because
That's for all the rats.
how many times have you not left a shadi because just as you were exiting that song started playing?
Dude, and it's also when you go to get food, it's like some non-banger song is playing, so you go get food, and then suddenly they start playing Chaya Chaya or Ban Tan Ke or something, and you're like, fuck, now this Pani Puri, who's gonna finish? I have to go to the dance floor, it's calling me.
Yeah. There was another suicide pact, but this one had to do with aliens. So basically this one town believed in aliens, this one cult.
Yeah.
And they thought that if they died and if they all unalived themselves, that the aliens would take them into the
Yeah.
universe and they would live on.
What is the purpose of the cult leader convincing people of
This
that?
I don't know. Like I understand if you are a cult leader and you're like, okay, let me convince them, let me manipulate them, keep them here, they'll build my houses, they'll have my babies.
Yeah.
But if everyone dies,
Yeah.
what's the point?
Do you think cult leaders are mentally unwell, or do you think they're manipulative? Like, do they know what they're doing, you think?
I think when you taste power,
Hmm.
there's no limit.
I've never seen that spark in your eyes shine so bright.
I've been trying to taste power for a long time. Never found it.
I always thought like cult leaders are like, oh, look at these like easily manipulated people. Let me take their money. Let me scam them.
Yeah, but then after a point, when you've made the money, then you start getting bored.
Yeah.
And then you want to like just manipulate humanity as it exists.
But you do agree that they're just being manipulative. You don't think that they are like brainwashed themselves and do you think doomsday cult leaders think the doomsday is coming?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think so. And also I think that of course there's some level of like megalomania or something where they think that they are the center of a universe and people need to listen to what they have to say.
yeah. No, for me, I think that they just have to create the same way like an abductor would be like, if you step out of the house, there's like something that's going to kill you. I think that's the way the doomsday cult leaders are like.
They
if
fill you with
don't
fear.
yeah, they fill you with fear because what else can I control people with? Love.
That's actually what I want to know. You know, I don't understand why Like, how is shame such a big driver and how is fear such a big driver? I can understand fight or flight being a response that takes people through life, but most of us are driven through life by shame of something that we held on to
Yeah.
from the past, and it really grinds our gears every time we're confronted with it.
Yeah.
Why?
So the thing is, now with the internet and everything, at least you have people to share stories and everything. But I feel like in a cult, if a bunch of people are following something and that's the only life I know, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right, but I'm the only one who feels that way, then I'll be like, maybe there's something wrong with me. So I'll keep that side of me hidden because everyone I know and love and I'm attached to is following this one thought process. You know? I think I have lost out on real opportunities because I'm so skeptical of things. So if a cult leader came and told me, hey, this will happen if you just follow me, I'm like, no, no, thank you. But I do think I can be absorbed into a cult.
I can be.
You, babe. Okay.
And obviously, they like it has to be something that you believe in, right? You can't follow like an ex cult.
Of
But
course.
definitely, if someone came up to me telling me like, let's do breath work and let's focus on wellness and centering your body, and that was the entryway into a cult, I would be there.
Yeah, but I feel like as soon as they were like, okay, it costs this much to move ahead in the cult, you would be like, let me ask my CA.
I would pay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where I draw the line. When they're like, okay, we need to take the cult forward, so you need to sleep with the leader to make the babies for the
Yeah.
cult. I'm like, ye to badi ask hai. Like,
Huh.
this is too much.
But that one cult where he made everyone shave their head, that's where I draw the line.
Shaving your head.
Yeah. Or actually, even like if they say like, wear this.
It's like Nixium, Do you know about Nixium in
No.
LA? So they essentially, this guy, he really co-opted a bunch of women who were in a bad frame of mind. And then as part of one of the cult rituals, of course, one part was sleeping with him through
Of
whatever
course.
manipulation. He branded all of them with a cattle brander
Stop it.
on their lower backs.
That's crazy. No, that's where I draw the line.
The cattle branding.
No, I feel like I draw the line pretty early on. I'm so skeptical of everything that I'm like, no, my life is good. I don't want to experiment with beliefs. And I've never held someone to such high of a pedestal that I'll be like, if he's saying it or if she's saying it, it must be true. Because
No, your cult leader will always be a woman.
my cult leader, yeah. I feel like I have more potential to be a cult leader than be led by a cult leader.
100%. And we're waiting. Coming next year, Sakshi's cult. We're figuring out the details of it.
Speaking of being manipulative and aggressive and
Yes.
dominating, so I had gone to Australia with my sister, my mom, and my bua, and it was my cousin's wedding. And basically, I love doing my makeup and everything, and I had my things sorted. And my victim, so to speak, is my sister, who she hasn't worn earrings in so many years that her holes have closed up, her piercings have closed up. But I made her sit after her sari was done. I did her makeup how much ever she let me. I pulled her hair into like a bun and everything. And then I was like, you need earrings because you're wearing a bun. She was like, I literally don't have a piercing. And then I was doing all of this. And I was like, so where's like it closed up from the middle, right? I can just pierce it with the earring back for you. And she was like, no. And I was like, why? It's going to hurt the same if I do it or if a professional does it. So just let me do it. And she was like, go outside, touch some grass and come back. And I was like, oh, I guess no one's committed to wearing earrings
You
like
didn't
me.
pierce her
Are you
ears, right?
mad?
Thank God.
I was half joking with her and I was half joking with the story. But I would be lying if she had allowed me.
That is so
I
interesting.
would have attempted it.
Even my sister doesn't have like holes. Like she never wore earrings, so they closed up. I'm
yeah.
like, isn't that? How do you not wear earrings? Isn't
Yeah,
that
it's
something
like-
you don't think about also
It's like
as a
bra.
woman?
Like just an earring. Yeah. So I was just like, I'll pierce it for you with a real gold earring. I'm wearing I was wearing cheap earrings, but for her, I was like, with real gold, I'm going to pierce your ears. And she said, respectfully, you can go die. but, but I was committed to doing it.
I just find it so wild to live in a world where you don't wear earrings.
Same. I don't get it at all. Like, what do you wear then? How
A
do you
bracelet.
elevate your look?
My sister's really into bracelets.
No, my sister thinks like she's a blank canvas, which is why I want to paint her so bad. Like, you know. And then I was observing my sister, and she was wearing this backless blouse, and I looked at her back, and I was like, she's so delicate. I can break her.
Let's talk about the mystery of the Son Bhandar caves.
I love that.
The Son Bhandar caves, located in Rajgir, Bihar, are a set of ancient artificial caves. And there is a local myth that claims that the legendary hidden treasure of ancient Magad king Bimbisar is there. And Bimbisara was imprisoned by his son Ajatashatru, and his wife hid their wealth in the secret cave. And to this day, whenever people have tried to find this treasure, they have just not been able to. The British tried, locals tried, it has never happened. So, do you think that we should go as a Moss mission
Yeah.
to Son Bhandar caves?
Don't caves scare you?
Caves really scare me. Yeah.
What about
That's, my only flaw is that I am deathly afraid of caves.
when I went to Maldives, I wanted to go diving, but
Yeah.
just the previous weekend in Maldives, some people entered a shark cave underground, and I think 4 divers entered, and none of them came back up. And then there was a rescue mission for them, and one of those divers also was not able to come back up. But I understand extreme sports in the sense that when you're completely helmeted and there's no chance of it actually being extreme, like a curated extreme, but you couldn't pay me to go into a shark cave.
Yeah, you lost me at the word shark. And then you lost me further at the word cave.
Cave.
Yeah.
And why would I do that to myself?
Like in which movie have 2 people entered a cave and something good happened?
Never.
Never.
Never in the history of caves.
So why would anyone want to go into a cave?
It's so scary. And I'm not even claustrophobic, but I don't want a cave falling on me.
Yeah.
And that I think is a completely reasonable.
And also caves that are near water. And you know that when the tide rises, the water
Yeah.
will very much be over you. And none of us are like smart and competent enough to know the tide just by
The
looking
timings of
Yeah.
the tide. Yeah. I've said this before, but scuba diving for me, it was not peaceful. I don't want to fuck with the ocean like that. I respect the ocean. I respect being near a beach. But a diving situation where, you run out of oxygen, suddenly you can't breathe, water goes in your nose. Why would I put myself somewhere where I have to struggle to breathe?
But haven't you done it like 3 times?
Diving?
Yeah.
No, I only went for my certificate course and I never ventured again. Surfing, I can get behind. I love surfing.
Yeah, anything above the surface,
Snorkeling.
Snorkeling is also at the surface,
At
right?
the surface, yeah.
Yeah.
But this time, I forgot to tell you all. But when I went to Maldives, I was swimming. I saw a reef from a distance. You know, those water villas. So you get down from your room. I swam to the reef and I was like chilling there, and the tide was pretty low. But I was there for maybe 15 minutes, and then suddenly I realized that even when I swam towards like the closest villa to me, I couldn't keep my feet down. I was too far out and the tide had changed. And then I was swimming for like 15 minutes against the tide. And I just couldn't like touch my feet to the ground.
And you
I-
couldn't see, right? Like you couldn't tell because you weren't wearing lenses.
No, I was wearing lenses, but the thing is, the way the villas are structured is they go outwards. At any given time, you can see 2 villas, and there's like 20 villas, and I was on the second one, and I'd come all the way back to the last one.
And you know what? Like these fine luxury hotels are all identically
The-
made.
so standardized, yeah. And I couldn't see that far out because it was difficult, but eventually I just stopped at a stranger's villa to catch my breath. I was like, I'm not dying. I would rather see two people making out in their Maldives room and scare the living hell out of them. But I thought I was gone. They were even the people I was with. They were like, we need to look for Sakshi. She's been gone too long.
So
But
did
then I
you,
made
were
it.
you like fully in fight or flight when you were in the middle of that? Like, were you crying?
No,
Were
I
you,
wasn't crying. I was.
You were like, I'm going to make it out, whatever happens.
Of course, I'm a very strong swimmer. I can enter anyone's villa and I can breathe.
This week, a new bombshell enters the villa. It's just Sakshi.
It's me. And I reached the villa, and then in the villa next to us, there was this couple, and they were like, we need to get in the water, but we're scared. And my boyfriend was convincing them to get in the water, and I came back literally like dying. And they were like, no,
Not
thank
going
you.
in. Have you watched the movie Tumbad? It's based on a place called Tumbad.
No,
I
I'm
haven't
too
watched
scared.
it either.
I'm too scared.
Let me tell you. So the film is based on an actual myth of Tumbad, which is that there was this there's this god called Hastar, who was the firstborn son of a mother goddess, and according to the myth, he was a very greedy kid, and he wanted all the gold in the universe. And so somewhere under this one house in Tumbad apparently is his entire treasure, but it's cursed.
Why?
So because he was so greedy, he got cursed, and so his treasure is cursed, and any human who tries to steal it is doomed to be trapped in eternal monstrous mutation.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I'll take that risk.
Like eternal
Like,
mutation.
they can see it, but they don't take it.
No,
The
they can't
treasure.
see it. No one's had the courage to go even digging for it.
Similar story in my family,
Yes.
actually. Basically, an aunt in my family passed away, and she had a beautiful sari collection. So once she passed away, and you clean out the closet and everything, and everyone took some stuff. And I remember my mom, my buas, everyone got like a few saris and everything. And as they were wearing it, anytime anyone wore that sari, it would just like fall to pieces. Like it would just be like, oh, I guess this was torn the entire time. You bend down, the blouse rips, like something or the other. And then eventually we started laughing and we were like, she doesn't want you all wearing her clothes actually. You'll get your grubby paws off her clothes.
This is not the same story at all.
Cursed saris, cursed.
Was it a silk sari?
I don't know. There were multiple saris. There was like saris, handbags, everything. She was like a fashionista. Was.
But I think in the past, a lot of kings because obviously you only had physical wealth, right? Everything
Yeah.
was gold or whatever. So wherever they would store their gold, the treasury after a point became so difficult to maintain because they were just like usurping property left, right?
Yeah.
That it was a very common practice to say that this treasury was cursed and that if there's a spirit and if you take it against against the will of the king, all
Bad
the
things
doom in the
will
world
happen
will
to you.
happen to you.
Yeah, and I guess, fear mongering is a good way to keep your stuff safe because you can't be staring at it all day. But, I mean, I think we should split that treasure. There, I don't mind going. You want to go to a fucking cave for this cursed treasure?
No,
But-
not this cave. This cave I
No,
don't want to
okay.
go to.
No.
Yeah. No, because the same thing happened in Egypt also, right? Like inside the pyramids, where if you open the pyramid against whatever,
Yeah.
all of the people who opened that one, who's Tutankhamun's tomb, and everyone died from
Yeah.
mysterious circumstances.
I'm not fucking with anything in the afterlife. Someone else fuck with it first
Yeah.
and then see if you can survive it because I'm very easily startled. I don't want to wake up and see a face in front of I'll piss myself. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. Anyway, where will you sell that treasure? It's just not.
There's just
It's
too
not
many
practical,
logistics. You can't go to
yeah.
Mile Mari and be like, hey, these are my gold spoons from
My
Tutankhamun's tomb.
DCB bank locker.
Do you believe that it was actual people who made these big ancient structures, or do you believe in ancient aliens?
I don't believe in ancient aliens. I just believe they
like
had
only
good
aliens in the
machinery.
new and now. Fine ass aliens.
Who was telling me yesterday that all these alien movies that are coming out, they think it's basically the world soft launching that there's going to be alien meet and greets soon.
Huh?
Like
Please?
you're gonna have exposure to aliens, all these movies that are coming with like alien interactions. But you don't believe that there are aliens out there?
No.
I think they're just humans on other planets. Like, I think we are not the only inhabitable planet. I think in another galaxy there'll be an Earth, like a parallel universe.
I don't think there is.
I think there is. I
No.
hope they're better off than us.
They're not.
You never know. I hope they're like hotter.
You think there's another moss pod in a different planet?
Imagine you meet your parallel universe counterpart and she's like way, way hotter. Would you be upset?
No.
She's way, way smarter. Would you be upset?
No.
What the fuck?
Why would I be upset?
Oh.
I'm like, you're carrying my legacy to a different galaxy.
What if she's like, oh yeah, me and my inferior. And it's just you.
I'll take it.
You take.
I'll take it.
She's unfazed.
I don't. I honestly would love to be a follower. I don't enjoy being a leader as much as I enjoy being a follower.
I love that. That's the cult worship motto.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things that to this day I keep checking and rechecking is just a way of looking at the world, which is that obviously when you're growing up, when you're going through school and stuff, every account that you read is doctored and created and presented to you. So you think that life operates in black and white and history operates in black and white, but it's as you grow older and you look at different perspectives and you say, it's so important to see who is telling that story, right?
Yeah.
And when you relook at the same events through different perspectives, whether it's through like a class lens or through like a gender lens, and see how one event could happen in many different ways and means many different things.
And that there is no reason or meaning for a lot of things to happen. You know, when say now that a lot of DNA testing and everything is happening, a lot of unsolved murders and crimes from back in the day are coming to some resolution. But the resolution is so random always, because it could be just a hitchhiker or someone with like a history from no correlation to the person that they ended up harming. And so it was very hard to come to a conclusion, which is so much scarier in some aspects, right? Because you could be doing everything right and you could be being vigilant, and some random person in some corner of the world could see you and be like, I'm gonna ruin something. Which is what.
yeah, that my brain never thinks like this, and
Oh.
that is why I'm so like, what? Some strangers think about murdering me right now. In a
Sorry.
lighter account
Sorry.
of unsolved mysteries, which is the girl version
Which
of
is,
it.
where is my hair tie?
Yeah, where is my hair tie? It's literally the first question. Where do lost scrunchies go, Sakshi?
Me, they go under my bed. I found like a whole stash.
You don't lose scrunchies.
I lose scrunchies all the time.
But if they're under your bed, they never left you.
Yeah, but by the time I found them in that dust, then they are for the landfills. Yeah.
We love an unsustainable queen. What does my boyfriend do when he's not with me? An unsolved crime. I know what my boyfriend does.
What?
My boyfriend's time is very mapped. And he never leaves the house.
As they should.
As was designed by me. Oh.
Because he is strapped to the.
No, he built a studio at home, so he just wakes
Oh.
up and goes to the studio
Yeah.
when he goes back.
So everyone's boyfriends just work.
Yeah.
I do think that men have a great knack for sounding like they're working even when they're doing fuck all.
Yeah. Can say.
It's like, you don't get it. I have work. And it's like, you. don't
My
have
favorite
work.
animal is like older people and how much they personify AI. They don't want to go to therapy, but they enjoy sharing their deepest desires and darkest secrets with AI. And I guess because you're so used to friendship.
Wait, do they?
Yeah.
Who has this?
Like if you ask adults, they'll be like, firstly they'll be like, please, thank you. And you are so right
Wasting
about
our
this. Wasting
resources.
resources. But you know the movie Her
Yeah.
is all the old people right now.
You think so?
Yeah.
My parents refuse to adopt AI for anything.
Get them hooked and they will be like, that will be their best friend.
No, because AI is.
I'm not
pretty-
saying get your parents hooked to
Yeah.
AI. I'm just saying
because
that.
it's so compliant, and I don't need like a robot telling my dad, yes, you are right about everything you think. Because I've spent 29 years saying, no, you are wrong, actually.
No, I was sitting with my aunt and she's like, just see what my AI is saying about me. It's saying that, you know, I'm so goal oriented and it really likes how I do X, Y, and Z. And she was very, very happy. And I read it and then I read it and then I read it. Then she said, let me ask, based on the last few days, now has your, response to me evolved? Like, has our relationship changed?
Oh.
And she's very happy with what came out. I said, I just want you to remember that it is designed to make it likable to you.
Yeah.
So then she's like, okay, AI, tell me with your unbiased opinion what you actually think about me. And then it went straight to the dark shadows of your... Yeah, literally. And she was so sad. I felt kind of bad.
No, you have to humble an old person a day.
But I think AI companions would be really good in old age homes.
Depends if the what I can't get behind is the image cleansing of old people.
No one's image cleansing, but I'm saying if you're sitting like, another aunt of mine, she can't really see. So she's kind of stuck to consuming everything as a podcast.
Oh.
If she...
Now, if you're gonna bring your aunt's eye issues into this, then
I'm
obviously.
And the thing is that because she can't like watch stuff, then she wants someone to talk to her all the time. Now, it's not humanly possible for everyone to talk to her all the time. So if she had an AI companion who was like chatting with her,
Yeah.
she would feel less lonely, I feel.
There'll be one less lonely girl.
What? Okay, what is the purpose of hair on your ring finger?
What is the purpose of hair on your fingers in general?
I
Why
don't know.
single out the ring finger?
That's what I'm like. Why, Ashna, did you single out the ring finger?
Oh, sorry. Evolution didn't realize that a fat rock was going to come on your ring finger.
Okay,
But why is the hair on your toes also?
I don't know.
Yeah. Apparently, only the palm of your hand and your lips are hairless. Everything else is hairy.
What about elbows?
My elbows are hairy. I don't know about yours. My elbows are like famously hairy. Like, I've never shaved my elbows.
I was wondering, should I bite the bullet and just do body laser?
It takes too long.
That's the thing. The time
Like just sitting
loss.
there getting zapped for like, it's called shock therapy. Look it up. I tried bikini laser.
And
It didn't work.
it didn't work.
I did like 5 sessions.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
Shut the fuck up.
And the humiliation.
I'm not supposed to swear.
Are you
No,
actually trying?
No. Yeah, I'm actually trying not to swear.
Did I swear in this episode, you
No,
think?
neither of us swore.
Yeah.
I didn't swear.
Maybe we should practice not swearing.
I'm really trying hard not to swear.
You know what I'm trying and actually succeeding at pretty well is firstly not being on my phone a lot, which is why I also drove here today, because I was like, if I'm not driving, I'm going to have the urge to check my phone. And which is why I've also read 4 books in the last month. But I'm doing a pretty good job with that. And the other thing that I'm practicing is adaptive resilience.
Thoda,
Would you like to know more?
yeah, please expand on the
Basically,
concept.
I am someone that loves control. Like my schedule is pretty much from 10 to 11:30 I do this, 11:45 I do this, even if it's a mundane task, I kind of assign time to it. And then when I'm not in control of that time, I get really stressed out and panicky. But now I've decided that I'm going to practice letting go of my schedule by putting myself in situations such as the simple task of not using Google Maps to get home, because when I use Google Maps to get home, I'm like, okay, it's going to take me 52 minutes. But if it takes me 54 minutes, I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. I'm clearly not driving the way I'm supposed to drive. Or so driving without Google Maps. I had a 16-hour flight back, and I decided for the next 48 hours, whatever happens, it's not in my control. So I'm going to go with the flow, fully preparing myself if I miss my flight, because my layover was really short. Or if just traveling with my mom and Bua, right? I was like, I'm going to take it at their pace. I'm not going to be like, this is how I would do it. Or if someone's taking long in a line, I'm just going to be like, okay, the situation has changed. So I'm going to be resilient in my adapting of the situation.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going amazing. I have not felt frustrated. I haven't like felt the need to, you get like impatient or anxious when things aren't going your way. And I haven't felt that because things are not, the plan is that things are not going to go my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having an adjacent thing which I kind of like, but I don't like because I've really systemized and built my life into a very good structure where every day and every moment is pretty much mapped for. And I guess this is what peace looks like because I'm at a lot of peace.
Yeah.
But I miss the spice and I miss things being like a little bit toxic. You know,
Yeah.
I miss and to find that inner meditative peace, you have to really be okay with the fact that, you know, now you're going to operate in neutrality.
I feel like you and I both need to do like some sort of stepping outside our comfort zone challenge.
Yeah, but the other day, like recently I went to Sumuki's house and I was like, I have not stepped out at night in months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in months, I haven't visited, I haven't gone to a bar, I haven't gone to a gig, I haven't done these things, and it feels so out of body. And then I went there and I had a drink, and we were all like doing an art night, which was so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all the high functioning women there who were like, we refuse to be bad at art. So then it
Oh.
became like a stressful thing for everyone because we were like, every stroke needs to be right. And
Perfect. Yeah.
but it was so much fun. I was like, I feel young, but I feel so old.
Classic.
Yeah.
I would pay to go back to like preschool.
Preschool.
Like you just paint and nap, right?
Yeah, but they're like, I feel like then the trouble is that the secret to life is that it's when everything is very chill and peaceful, it's great. But then you get so comfortable in that peace
Yeah.
that then you don't do the other things in life that kind of keep it spark heavy.
So you don't like operating in neutrality?
I love it, but I'm like now I'm feeling too away from the world.
Maybe we have switched bodies or
I think
something in
so.
the last month because I'm feeling so not scheduled and I'm so reliant on a schedule. But because of my adaptive resilience theory that I'm testing out, it's all G. It's all good. I start crying.
Oh, okay. I want to ask you some movie things.
Oh,
There's been a lot of mystery movies and things. Are there any movies that you like in this genre of like unsolved mysteries and things like that?
answer. This is completely unrelated, but I'm gonna say it. You know how in the end of Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, the freeze frame was there, like, and Zoya Akhtar was like, some idiots thought that they died. If you're gonna pose it like they died, some idiots will think that they died. Like, I don't think there is any. If you're gonna freeze the frame when there are 5 bulls behind 3 men who act like, and there's that "To Zinda Ho Tum" playing in the background, obviously I'm gonna think y'all stopped and let the bulls take y'all. You know, I don't think. And thank God she added the song because I genuinely thought the bulls got them.
That would be such a genre flip in the last second of the film.
It's like, you know, after a boys' trip, you don't need to live. You've peaked.
I like exploring like mystery through different genres. Like I love Only Murders in the Building.
I haven't watched that.
What? It's such a great show to like fall asleep to, although every season unraveled into a worst script. It's worst
Oh.
script, but it's a great show to fall asleep to. And it's so ridiculous.
I can't fall asleep to mystery.
No?
No, I have to watch something extremely chill after. But I love Black Mirror. You know, the whole thing of like, what the fuck's happening, what's going on, and you're like, oh,
That's
that's what was going on. Yeah,
I loved Andhadhun.
and that one was fun.
I loved Cough, which is not a mystery, but it's like a.
I still haven't watched it. I get so creeped out when, especially when, people are trying to make things scary. I get freaked out. I can consume mystery only from a detective's perspective, solving the mystery.
Someone who's in control.
Yeah.
Dude, when the cop's friend cop, who's a really good cop, dies,
Yeah.
that really gets me each time.
What gets me is Madhavan's death in Rang De Basanti. I can't. I
classic.
think about it like once a day.
But that's the truth of life, right? It's always the good, unassuming person who dies first.
Yeah. That's why we're good.
Okay.
It's like, one sec, I have a question for you. If I went missing, how would you describe me to the cops?
I knew you were going to say that. Should I describe you physically or should I describe your
Whatever
mannerisms?
you would say to the
A
cops.
very tall, self-assured,
Self-assured.
muscular,
I'm not
gorgeous
gonna get
angel.
found.
Great skin, amazing undertone in any light, so you can find her anywhere. Like smiles like a Happy Dent ad, like all teeth beautiful. And she has the lightest shade of brown texture in her eyes, so make sure you catch her in the sun.
They find me in a room crouched over there, like, not her.
Bro, they will never find you in a room crowd. Firstly, Sakshi, I know if Sakshi, I hope it never happens, but if she was ever taken like hostage or kidnapped or something, she would break through the bed. Like there would be like marks of
I would try my
rebellion,
best. But so
adapted
would
rebellion.
you.
Yeah. No, I would be like, le lo.
No.
Le lo, bhai. It's like,
If I had to describe you to the cops, I'd be like, she's already working on her escape, but she will be working on it parallelly. So if you find her, she'll be like, no, I got this. I'm going to figure this out myself.
that's you're really kind.
Yeah,
This is
because-
why I'll never be found. this is the reason.
No, I'll
Maybe
just
15 years later, they
got-
still have not solved my missing case. Sakshi convinced everyone. that
Sniffer
she-
dogs can't find you because you Botoxed your armpits.
Tell them it was Tom Ford, baby. You will make it back. You would have you will give your like the person who's kidnapped you. Firstly, you will kill their self-confidence. You'll be like,
Dude.
"Teko itna bhi nahi karna aata." Really, it's the pits the way you've taken
I
me.
feel like people would start looking for you in like 20 minutes. I've never seen anyone let you be.
My biggest superpower.
Like Amrita would call me for something and be like, is Naina not answering? We must throw out a search party for my friend Naina.
This is like when the British came and built things for the people. This podcast was
like-
built for you, for us.
It's like we need to find Naina.
All
As
right.
long as you get found. All right.
On
On that
note,
note.
don't comment down below.
My-
Just for as a fun exercise.
My 5'6" skinny waist, fat ass, honey hair, colored lenses.
Are you wearing colored lenses?
No, I'm talking about my description of you to the
Oh,
police.
okay, sorry. You said fat ass, so I thought you were talking about yourself.
No, you have that skinny waist and nice ass combo. Trust me. Trust me. When she gets up, there's like a...
The furniture is gone 1 inch.
Fuck off.
All right.
There's like fine line between sexualizing you and complimenting you. Sorry. The class filmmakers.
All right, let's try to say bye. If you are trying to solve the mystery of where is our merch, let us solve it for you. The merch will come after 100K subscribers. Please subscribe to our podcast, follow us, hype us, and see you next time.
See you.